The Nocturne Kingdom stands as the largest and most dominant force within the werewolf world. Towering above all others, it commands authority over more than 20 smaller packs, each bound by loyalty, fear, or blood oath. Whispers of its power echo across every territory, for this is no ordinary pack. Nocturne is believed to be blessed by the moon goddess herself. Legends say her gaze never leaves their land, and her favor flows through their bloodlines. What sets the Nocturne pack apart is not just its size, but the extraordinary strength of its members. Within its ranks exist highborn alphas of unmatched dominance, betas with strategic brilliance, and rare omegas whose presence is said to carry divine energy. Each wolf is stronger, faster, and more attuned to their instincts than those of any other pack. The mighty Nocturne pack was ruled by its head alpha, Darwin Duskren, a name that sent fear through even the strongest wolves. He was known across every territory as the Heartless Alpha, a ruler untouched by mercy, unmoved by pain, and unbreakable in will. They said his eyes held no warmth, only cold authority. To his enemies, he was destruction itself. To his own pack, he was law. By his side, always watching, always silent, was his bonded companion Wariel, a shadow panther with piercing golden eyes that glowed in the dark. It moved without sound, appearing and disappearing like a whisper of night itself. Unlike wolves who followed hierarchy, Wariel obeyed no one but Darwin. It reflected his nature, perfectly calm, patient, but capable of deadly precision in a single strike. When Wariel was near, even the air felt tense, as if danger itself was watching. By his side stood his Luna, Illyra, a woman as mysterious as the night sky. Where Darwin was ruthless and feared, Illyra was calm, composed, and unreadable. Many believed she was the only one capable of standing beside him, and the only one who could withstand the darkness within him. Some whispered that she was his balance. Others feared she might be just as dangerous. And at her side, always, her bonded beast, Elith, a massive silver swan with glowing eyes, symbolizing purity and foresight. Rare among wolves, her companion marked her as chosen by the moon goddess herself. Together, they ruled Nocturne not just with power, but with a presence that made even the moon fall silent. The mighty Nocturne pack was feared across all kingdoms, not only because of its ruthless ruler, head alpha Darwin Duskren, but because of the bloodline he created. The heirs of Nocturne were not merely born, they were forged in power, raised in dominance, and destined to surpass even their father. Each of them carried a different kind of terror, a different kind of strength that no wolf could fully understand. The Crown Prince of Nocturne, Orion Duskren, was not born ordinary. He was born as a primordial alpha, a being whose existence itself bent the laws of dominance and hierarchy. From the moment he took his first breath, the entire pack felt it, an overwhelming pressure, ancient and suffocating, as if something far older than the current bloodlines had awakened within him. His nature was not simply cold, it was controlled destruction. Orion did not rage like other alphas. He suppressed, contained, and released only when necessary, making him far more dangerous than those ruled by emotion. He believed in power, in control, and in absolute authority, and anything that threatened that control, whether person, bond, or fate, was something he instinctively rejected. Yet beneath that ruthless exterior lay something fractured, something he refused to acknowledge, which only made his actions harsher and more unforgiving. Bound to his soul was his companion, Nazar, a shadow drake unlike any creature seen in the werewolf world. Formed of darkness and ember-like veins of crimson light, Nazar did not simply walk, it coiled through shadows, appearing and disappearing like a living nightmare. Its wings, vast and silent, could block out light, and its eyes glowed with the same burning intensity as Kale's wolf. Nazar was not loyal out of obedience, it chose Kale because it recognized him as something equal, something ancient. When both stood together, their presence felt like a force of destruction waiting to be unleashed. In his human form, Kale was striking in a way that was both captivating and intimidating. Tall, broad-shouldered, and built with the strength of a warrior king, he carried himself with effortless authority. His features were sharp and defined: high cheekbones, a strong jawline, and slightly shadowed eyes that always seemed to be watching, calculating. His hair was deep black, often slightly tousled, adding to his untamed aura, while his eyes, his most dangerous feature, burned a deep crimson when his emotions stirred, otherwise remaining a cold, piercing dark shade. His presence alone could silence a room, not because he demanded attention, but because attention naturally shifted to him. His wolf form was even more terrifying, a massive primordial black wolf, far larger than any normal alpha, with fur so dark it seemed to absorb light itself. Veins of faint crimson energy pulsed beneath his skin, especially when angered, giving the impression that something powerful lived within him, barely contained. His eyes glowed a fierce, unrelenting red, filled not with animal instinct, but with sharp intelligence and dominance. Every movement of his wolf was precise, controlled, and heavy with authority. When he walked, other wolves instinctively lowered themselves. When he growled, it wasn't just a sound, it was a command. At Orion's side, completing his presence, was his weapon. The primordial sword, Umbraxis. Forged not by ordinary blacksmiths but said to be born from fallen star metal and ancient alpha blood, Umbraxis was a blade of pure black with faint crimson veins running through it, as if it were alive. The sword did not shine, it absorbed light, much like Orion himself. Its edge was impossibly sharp, capable of cutting through both physical form and spiritual energy, making it deadly not only to enemies but to supernatural beings as well. The hilt was wrapped in dark leather, marked with ancient runes that glowed faintly when Kale touched it. What made Umbraxis truly terrifying was that it responded only to him. No one else could wield it without being overwhelmed by its power. When drawn, the air itself seemed to tremble, and a low, almost inaudible hum echoed, as though the blade recognized battle before it even began. Orion was not just an heir. He was not just an alpha. He was something older, darker, a primordial force wearing the form of a king. And with Nazar beside him and Umbraxis in his hand, he was a being even fate struggled to control. The second prince of Nocturne, Aaron Duskran, was a true-blood alpha, born from an unbroken royal lineage where strength, discipline, and purity of power flowed through his veins. Unlike the overwhelming, ancient force of his elder brother, Aaron's power was refined, precise, controlled, and deeply rooted in tradition. His nature was calm, thoughtful, and highly strategic. He did not act on impulse, he observed, analyzed, and then moved with certainty. Aaron believed that true strength was not shown through dominance alone, but through control, restraint, and the ability to lead without unnecessary destruction. He was protective of those he considered his own, especially his family, and though he rarely expressed emotions openly, his loyalty ran deep and unshakable. At his side was his loyal companion, Zephyros, a magnificent storm eagle with vast wings that shimmered in shades of silver and deep blue. Unlike chaotic creatures, Zephyros was disciplined, mirroring Aaron's own nature. It soared high above, always watching, always aware, capable of sensing distant threats and shifts in energy long before anyone else. The bond between them was seamless, silent communication, perfect coordination, and unwavering trust. When Zephyros descended, the air itself seemed to stir, as though acknowledging a presence of authority from the skies. Aaron's wolf form was a striking ash-gray wolf, larger than most high-ranking alphas, with fur that carried a natural sheen like polished steel under light. His eyes glowed a calm yet intense icy blue, holding intelligence and control rather than wild instinct. His movements were smooth, calculated, and efficient, never wasted, never reckless. When he fought, it was not with rage but with precision, each step measured, each attack deliberate. His wolf did not intimidate through chaos, but through the quiet certainty that it would win. In his human form, Aaron carried a composed and refined appearance. Tall, well-built, and balanced in physique, he had the strength of a warrior but the presence of a leader. His features were sharp yet approachable, defined jawline, straight nose, and calm, observant eyes that seemed to read everything without effort. His dark hair was usually kept neat, adding to his disciplined image, and his expressions were controlled, rarely revealing more than necessary. There was a quiet elegance in the way he carried himself, making him naturally respected rather than feared. At his side rested his weapon, a royal bearded axe known as Etherian. Forged from rare sky metal and reinforced with ancient runic engravings, the axe carried a faint silver-blue glow along its crescent blade. The beard of the axe extended downward in a sharp, elegant curve, allowing for both hooking and precise strikes, making it as versatile as it was deadly. Despite its formidable appearance, it was perfectly balanced in Aaron's grip, moving not with brute force, but with controlled precision just like him. The handle was wrapped in dark leather, etched subtly with the Draven lineage marks, and it responded only to Aaron's command, as if bound to his will. When he wielded Etherian, there was no wild destruction, only calculated, decisive motion. Each swing was intentional, each strike final. The air itself seemed to still before the blade moved, as though the world knew that once Aaron acted, there would be no mistake, and no escape. Aaron Duskren was not the storm that destroyed everything in its path. He was the force that decided where the storm would fall. Calm, controlled, and impossible to defeat once he chose to act. The third prince of Nocturne, Lucien Duskren, was known as a Crescent Alpha, a rare and unpredictable bloodline that thrived under the shifting power of the moon. Unlike his brothers, Lucien was neither purely controlled nor overwhelmingly dominant. He was fluid, ever-changing, like the crescent moon itself. His nature was playful on the surface, often teasing, charming, and seemingly carefree, but beneath that light exterior lay sharp instincts and a dangerous edge. He adapted quickly, read people effortlessly, and could switch from warmth to lethality in a heartbeat. Lucien didn't follow rigid rules like Aaron or cold detachment like Orion. He followed instinct, and that made him the most unpredictable of them all. He loved deeply, fought fiercely, and when provoked, his cruelty came with a smile that made it even more unsettling. At his side moved his bonded companion, Varix, a rare flame fox whose body flickered with ember-like light. Small compared to other beasts but far more deceptive, Varix could vanish into sparks and reappear within shadows of firelight, making it nearly impossible to track. Its golden-orange fur glowed softly, and its sharp eyes mirrored Lucien's cunning intelligence. The bond between them was playful yet deadly. They moved like partners in mischief and destruction, often confusing enemies before striking with precision. Lucien's wolf form was a striking crescent-marked wolf, its fur a rich blend of golden brown and dark amber, with a faint silver crescent marking glowing along its shoulder under moonlight. Its eyes burned a molten gold, filled with both intelligence and wild instinct. Unlike the heavy dominance of Orion's wolf or the controlled precision of Aaron's, Lucien's wolf moved with speed and agility, almost like a blur, quick, graceful, and unpredictable. It didn't overpower immediately. It circled, played, tested, and then struck at the perfect moment. Under a full moon, his strength amplified significantly, his movements becoming faster, his senses sharper, making him exceptionally dangerous during night battles. In his human form, Lucien carried an effortless charm that made him stand out instantly. Tall and well-built with a slightly leaner frame than his brothers, he moved with a natural grace that felt almost effortless. His features were sharp yet expressive, defined jawline, slightly mischievous eyes, and a constant hint of a smirk playing on his lips. His hair, a deep brown with golden undertones, often fell slightly messy, adding to his carefree appearance. His eyes, bright amber, were the most captivating, always alive with emotion, curiosity, and something dangerously unreadable beneath. At his side rested his weapon, now a crescent spear known as Lunarath. Unlike heavy or rigid weapons, this spear was long, elegant, and perfectly balanced for swift, fluid combat. Its shaft was crafted from dark lunar wood, smooth yet unbreakable, etched with faint glowing crescent runes that shimmered under moonlight. The spearhead curved slightly like a crescent blade, forged from rare lunar metal that emitted a soft silver glow, intensifying as night deepened. Light in his grip, the spear moved like an extension of Lucien himself, spinning, striking, and shifting direction with unpredictable speed. It could pierce through both physical armor and energy barriers with deadly precision, while also allowing sweeping, graceful attacks that mirrored his fighting style. The weapon responded not to rigid control, but to instinct, reacting to Lucien's movements, emotions, and intent, making each strike feel alive, almost playful, yet lethal. Under the full moon, Lunaretha's glow sharpened, its energy amplifying alongside Lucien's power, turning every movement into a dance of beauty and danger. Lucien Duscrin was not the strongest in brute force, nor the most controlled. He was something far more dangerous. A shifting force of instinct and charm. A crescent that could either glow gently in the night, or cut through darkness without warning. If Darwin Duscrin was known as the Heartless Alpha, his sons were whispered about as something far worse. The three shadows of Nocturne. Even the moon seemed to dim when they walked under it.